and she's banging on a sliding glass door, and my older brother was like opening and closing the curtain, and I was doing that little kid dance. So you're just like.
Welcome to This Is Not Happening. I'm Ari Shaffir, and tonight the topic is Bloodline. Please give it up for Mr. Bret Ernst, everybody.
So, my story takes place in Florida, like all fucked up stories, though. Now, I moved around a lot as a kid, you know, because I was raised by a single mom, just like everybody else I know. Does anybody even have a father anymore, by the way? I know they're out there. They're like urban legends. You hear about them every now and then, you know what I mean? So we moved around a lot. I was born in Jersey, moved to Florida, back to Jersey, back to Florida. I've been back and forth my whole life. And the reason for that is my grandparents, they lived in Florida and they helped raise us. You ever see those old dudes that would make weapons? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you ever see those grandpa weapons? Like he wouldn't make shit in his shed. Like he had a sock with like $900 worth of quarters in it, just fucking hanging there, tied in knots. No? You never had it? Like, all right, he would drive around in his Lincoln, under the seat of the Lincoln, he had an axe handle, right? It was like this big, with like tape at the bottom of it, I guess for grip. And a nail in the top of it, like... I remember as a kid going, what the hell is that for? He's like, just in case. Like, in case of what? Like, what are you, Braveheart? What is that thing? You know what I mean? So he was a man's man, you know what I mean? He fought in the war. He was just a man's man. And, he knew how to fix shit. Which, by the way, our generation's just, let's be honest. If something happened in LA, we're all fucked. You know what I mean? We don't really have any real man skills. Like, you know what I mean? The ability to get in a nightclub when you're not on a guest list is not a real survival skill. You know what I mean? Like, he was just of that ilk where he could build shit, whatever. And they used to get us babysitters, and me and my brothers were horrible. Like, we ran through babysitters like the Simpson kids. Like, nobody ever wanted to watch us. Like, we had this one babysitter, all right? We used to call her Aunt Face, all right? But, but she was this big Southern woman, right? And she looked like this. And I don't know, do you guys know what a switch is? Yeah. Okay, we were from Jersey, we had no idea. Down south, if you're acting up, they have this disciplinary thing called a switch, right? And she would be like, go outside and break me off a switch. You know, and I'm like, what the fuck's a switch? I had no idea. For those of you who don't know what it is, they take you outside, okay? They make you pick out a tree branch. You have to break it off, you give it to them, and then they hit you with it. Like, what kind of sadistic Hannibal Lecter type mind? Like, why do I gotta pick the weapon you're gonna beat me with? You know what I mean? So the next time we were acting up, Aunt Face is like, go outside and break me off a switch. And now I'm like, fuck you, Aunt Face. I ain't falling for that shit again, right? So Aunt Face goes, fine, I'll do it myself, right? So she went outside. We locked Aunt Face out of the house for like 9 hours, all right? And Aunt And she was running around, like, trying to get in. We were messing with her. Like, we'd open the door and then lock it. Like, yo, Aunt Face! And she'd run around, you know, and then we'd lock the door again. And my grandparents had this sliding glass door, right? And she's banging on a sliding glass door. And my older brother was, like, opening and closing the curtain. And I was doing that little kid dance, so you're just like... Right? So Aunt Faye's tapped out. She didn't want to watch us anymore, all right? So my grandmother had to find this last-minute replacement, and I don't know where she found this woman, but she was just white trash. She was, like, pale, right? She had, like, scrapes and bruises and shit. Like, she looked like she fell off a bike. I'm not lying. She was all banged out. And her nickname was the crazy lady. That's what we would call her. Because every time she would say something, right, she would repeat the words to herself. You ever see anybody do this? She'd be like, whatever the words are. Like, she would do this. I got to do it for you without laughing. Hold on. I swear to God, she'd go, whatever the words were, she would always repeat them to herself. And this was the 80s, so there was no background check, so my grandmother's just like, watch the kids, and left, right? So the crazy lady would never make eye contact with you. She would just always look down, right? And, and I'm staring at her, she's not staring at me. Doesn't say a word. Just peels off, goes in my grandparents' bedroom, lays on the bed, and talks to her boyfriend all day, which was cool with us. She didn't mess with us, we didn't mess with her. Day's going great. Well, end of the day comes, okay? And the crazy lady calls us into the bedroom. She's like, you kids get in here. I need to know if you cleaned your room, because if you didn't clean your room, you're not gonna go to McDonald's. Now, it's important for the story to know it was Filet-O-Fish Fridays at McDonald's, all right? No, because if we were kids and we were good, my grandmother would take us to McDonald's. And, as a kid, McDonald's was the shit. I still get excited. Because, I see the arches now, I'm like, because there was just so much things there for kids. You had Happy Meals, Filet-O-Fishes. I thought McDonald's was so cool. I had a cousin, Steve, that worked at McDonald's, and I used to brag that I had a cousin that worked at McDonald's. And none of my friends believe me. They're like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, I get extra shit in my Happy Meal, like I knew people. Right? So now we go to clean the room, because we want to go to McDonald's. Now, my older brother, Scott, he's 10, all right? I'm 6. My little brother, Keith, he's 3, but he don't count right now, okay? He's too little. So we start cleaning the room because we want to go to McDonald's. And my older brother, it's this, because he can make a bed like you wouldn't believe. I'm dead serious. He made it better than my grandmother. Everything was just perfectly folded, pillows where they need to be, right? So now the crazy lady wanted to inspect the room to give us the seal of approval. So I'm like, when we're done cleaning the room, I'm like, hey, crazy lady, we're done cleaning the room. You want to check it out, right? I don't know what the hell happened. All right, because her head just started going 100 miles an hour, and she's looking at the room. She's like, wow. She goes, you kids think this room looks clean? It doesn't look clean to me! And just freaked out, right? Started messing the bed up, knocking shit off the dresser, skipping like a goddamn maniac, right? And I'm Roman Catholic, so my grandmother had those creepy saint statues. She bitch slapped St. Peter on the floor. So now my older brother stepped up. He's like, lady, why are you messing the room up, right? She doesn't say a word. She just pieces them, straight shot, just, right? She dropped them. I did the little kid thing where you laugh and then you freak out. I was like, All right, here's where the story gets fucked up. My older brother told me to do it too. He denies it, but he was sitting there bleeding going, you know what you need to do. Crazy lady goes back into my grandparents' room, lays on the bed, and starts talking to her boyfriend, laughing about what she did, all right? So I walk in my grandparents' room. I look at her, she's laughing. I look at my brother, he's bleeding, right? Now, under that nutsack of change, my grandfather also had a little baby axe, right? A little crooked handle hatchet. So I look at her, I look at him, I look at the axe, right? And in my mind, I'm like, you gonna let her get away with that shit? That's your brother. She bitch slapped St. Peter. That's sacrilege. I grab the axe, and as hard as I can, right in the back of her leg, all right? Oh, relax. I was 6 years old, so there was a lot of torque behind it, all right? But it was good enough to get in there. And I don't know what the hell I hit, but blood went everywhere. Long story boring, the cops come, all right? And they're interrogating me. And I'm crying, you know, because I know we ain't going to McDonald's now. I know I messed that up. So now, right, I'm sitting there, I'm crying. Cops are asking me questions. My grandfather comes home. Now, back then, no cell phones, no nothing. You know what I mean? He pulls up, sees the ambulance, the cops, right? He comes running in. He's like, what the hell happened? And you know when you're a kid and you're crying, you throw out one word? I'm like, fillet of fishes! He's like, what the hell? I said, McDonald's. She told us to clean the room or we couldn't go to McDonald's. And Scotty told me to do it. And she punched Scotty in the face. He goes, whoa, what'd she do? Right? Beelines it over to her. Now she's all crazied out, right? She's got her blanket around her, right? Her father's acting like a bitch. He's like, I can't believe this. You know, he's acting all crazy, right? So my grandfather walks over and he looks at him and goes to the father. He goes, you know, I feel terrible about this whole thing. Can I talk to her for a second? I want to make sure she's all right. Are you okay, honey? You okay? Oh, you are. What are you, like 20? You're an adult, right? Like 22, 23? Listen, if you ever put your hands on my kids again, I'm going to make one phone call, all right? I'm going to have your father's head chopped off. He's going to be wrapped in plastic and no one will ever find him. And you're going to have to live with it for the rest of your life. And he looks at me and he goes, we're going to McDonald's. And I got 2 fillet of fishes and no therapy. All right, guys, that's my time, man. Thank you.